My name is Lowell, and for the last 8 years I believed I had built a life with a woman who loved me. I wasn't perfect, and neither was she, but I thought we were solid. Marriage isn't always easy, but I never imagined that I would be standing in the middle of a room full of people, humiliated beyond belief, watching my world collapse in real time. It started with a feeling, one I had been trying to ignore for months, a shift in the way she looked at me, the subtle coldness in her voice. Lana had always been sharp-tongued, but there used to be warmth underneath it. Lately it was just ice. I told myself she was stressed, that maybe work was getting to her, or that she needed space. But deep down I knew. That night, she invited me to a get-together at a friend's house. I wasn't in the mood, but she insisted. "You never go out anymore," she said with an edge to her voice. "It's just one night, Lowell," so I went. I should have known the moment we walked through the door that something was off. The way people looked at me, some with pity, some with amusement. The air felt thick, suffocating, like everyone knew a secret I didn't. But I pushed it down and smiled, playing the role of the dutiful husband. Then came the moment that shattered everything. I caught Lena whispering to someone across the room, a man I had never seen before, confident, leaning in too close. She laughed, tilting her head in that familiar way she used to do with me. It was intimate, too intimate. Something in my chest tightened. I walked up to her trying to stay calm, but the second she turned to me I saw it, that flicker of annoyance. Like I was interrupting something important. "Who's this?" I asked, keeping my voice even. She sighed, exasperated. "Lowell, can you not do this right now?" "Do what?" "Make a scene," she muttered under her breath. My pulse pounded. "I just asked a question." That's when she lost it. Right there in front of everyone, she rolled her eyes, crossed her arms, and said the words that sent a shockwave through my entire body. "I'm tired of explaining myself to you. Either listen or leave." Silence fell over the room. My heart was hammering so hard I could barely hear anything else. A slow realization dawned on me. This wasn't just about the man standing next to her. It was about everything. I stared at her, waiting for something, regret, hesitation, anything. But there was nothing, just that same coldness, that same indifference that had been creeping in for months. So I did the only thing I could. I reached into my pocket, grabbed my car keys, and walked out the door. The last thing I heard before the night swallowed me was Lena's breath catching in her throat. But she didn't stop me. She didn't call my name. And that's when I knew she had been waiting for me to leave all along. I drove 4 miles that night, the streetlights blurring into streaks of gold and white as I gripped the steering wheel with trembling hands, like it had been drained of all its color. Or maybe that was just how I felt inside. Like something had hollowed me out and left nothing but raw, aching space where my heart used to be. I wasn't even sure where I was going. I just needed to move, to escape the suffocating weight of what had just happened. My wife had stood in a room full of people, looked me dead in the eye, and told me to either listen or leave, as if she had already decided which one she wanted me to do, and I had given her exactly what she wanted. The realization sank deep, clawing its way into my chest, and I felt something inside me break. It wasn't just betrayal, it was humiliation. It was knowing that everyone in that room had seen it happen, had witnessed me become the fool in real time. Had they known all along? Had they whispered behind my back, laughing at the clueless husband who had no idea what his wife was up to? I clenched my jaw, my fingers tightening around the steering wheel. I didn't want to believe it, but the way they had looked at Mitha, pity, the knowing smirks, it all made sense now. Lena wasn't just pulling away from me. She was done, and she had been for a long time. I pulled into an empty gas station, turning off the engine but making no move to get out. The silence inside the car was deafening, wrapping around me like a straitjacket. My breathing was shallow, uneven. My hands felt numb, and then out of nowhere my phone buzzed. I flinched at the sound, dragging in a breath before glancing at the screen. Lena. I stared at her name for a long time, my mind racing with all the possible things she could be calling to say. Maybe she felt guilty. Maybe she was about to apologize, to ask me to come back so we could talk like adults. Maybe, just maybe, this was salvageable. I exhaled sharply and answered, For a few seconds there was nothing, just silence. Then her voice came through, quiet but firm. "You really just left?" My stomach twisted. There was no concern in her tone, no regret, just mild disbelief, as if I had inconvenienced her by walking away. I forced myself to speak, my voice hoarse. "You told me to?" Sigh, then. "You always take things so seriously, Lowell. It was just a fight." "Just a fight?" I let out a bitter laugh, rubbing a hand over my face. "Lana, you humiliated me, stood there in front of everyone and made me feel like I was nothing." She didn't respond right away. When she finally did, her voice was colder. "I don't know what you want me to say." Something inside me snapped. "How about the truth? How about telling me who the hell that guy was?" Silence again. This time it stretched long enough that I thought she might have hung up. Then she said the one thing that made my blood run cold. "It doesn't matter, Lowell. Not like we were happy anyway." A sharp pain stabbed through my chest. "So that's it? It's your excuse?" "I don't need an excuse." Her voice was almost bored. "Look, I'll be home late. Don't wait up." The call ended before I could respond. I stared at my phone, my grip so tight it felt like I might crush it. My entire body was shaking now, but not from sadness, not even from anger. It was something deeper than that. It was the horrifying realization that I had spent years with someone who had stopped caring about me a long time ago. Someone who had. Probably spent months, if not longer, figuring out the best way to let me down easy, only to decide that she didn't even owe me that. And worst of all, I had been too blind to see it. I sat in that parking lot for what felt like hours, replaying every moment, every sign I had ignored, every excuse I had made for her, and slowly, a terrifying thought crept into my mind. What if this had been going on for a lot longer than I even realized? And what if everyone else had known before I did? I don't remember how long I sat in that parking lot, staring blankly at my phone, my mind, a swirling mess of everything I didn't want to admit. The weight of Lana's words pressed down on my chest, suffocating me, making it hard to breathe. "It doesn't matter, Lowell. It's not like we were happy anyway." That one sentence kept replaying in my head, over and over again, until it felt like nails hammering into my skull. Like she had already rewritten our entire history, erasing the years we spent together, reducing everything we had to nothing. More than a failed experiment. And the worst part? Maybe she was right. Maybe I had been lying to myself all along. I ran a hand through my hair, forcing myself to take slow, measured breaths. I needed clarity, and I wasn't going to find it sitting alone in a gas station parking lot, drowning in self-pity. I needed answers, real answers, and I had an idea of where to start. I drove back to the neighborhood we had moved into 5 years ago. The one where I had once imagined we'd raise a family, grow old together, build the kind of life people envied. Now, as I pulled onto our street, all I felt was a deep, gnawing unease. Her car wasn't in the driveway. She had said she'd be home late, and I had no doubt that meant she was with him, whoever the hell he was. I parked and sat there for a long moment, staring at the house. It looked different now, not in the physical sense, but in the way that things do, when you realize they were never really yours to begin with. This was our home, but standing there, staring at it, I felt like a stranger. The porch light was on. I hadn't turned it on before I left. Someone had been here. I stepped inside, flipping the switch to bathe the living room in a dim, warm glow. Everything was exactly as I had left it. The coffee cup on the table, the blanket draped over the arm of the couch, my jacket tossed over the chair. But suddenly, it all felt staged, like a perfectly arranged crime scene, waiting for someone to notice the clues they had missed. I wasn't even sure what I was looking for, but I started moving, checking rooms, looking at things I had ignored before. My stomach churned as I opened the closet in our bedroom and noticed something. Immediately, a half-empty suitcase shoved to the side. Lana had been packing. I reached down, gripping the handle, pulling it out onto the floor. Clothes, shoes, toiletries, ... A plane ticket. My heart pounded in my chest as I picked up the small envelope. I wasn't sure what I was expecting. When I slid the ticket out and read the destination, my entire body went cold. Mexico. Departure. This Friday? That was 3 days from now. My breath caught in my throat as I looked at the second ticket. Beneath it, not mine, Who the hell was this guy? And how long had this been planned? I sat there on the floor for what felt like forever, the ticket clutched in my hands, my mind trying to piece together the reality I had been blind to. She wasn't just seeing someone else. She was planning to disappear. To start over, while I sat here in the ruins of the life she had already checked out of. And the worst part, she hadn't even had the decency to tell me. My phone buzzed again. This time it wasn't Lena, it was Isaac, my neighbor. I hesitated for a second before answering. Yeah, there was a long pause, like he wasn't sure if he should be calling me at all. Then his voice came through, cautious but firm. Lowell, we need to talk. I frowned. About what? Another pause. Then finally, I know what's been going on, and I think you deserve to know too. 20 minutes later, I was sitting in Isaac's dimly lit kitchen, gripping a glass of water that I had no intention of drinking. Isaac looked uncomfortable, like he had been dreading this conversation for a long time, ran a hand through his graying hair and exhaled heavily before finally speaking. I should have told you earlier, he admitted, but I didn't know if it was my place. And honestly, I didn't want to be the one to ruin things for you. Just say it, I muttered, my patience hanging by a thread. He nodded, staring down at his hands before finally looking me in the eye. It's been going on for at least a year, Lowell. Maybe longer. My breath hitched. I had expected months, but a year. I'd gripped the edge of the table. Who is he? Isaac hesitated, shifting in his seat. Then he said a name that made my entire body go rigid, Graham. For a second, I thought I had misheard him because there was no way. No way. I laughed, a sharp, bitter sound. You're joking. Isaac's face said he wasn't. Graham. The same Graham who had been coming over for barbecues. The same one who had played poker at my kitchen table. The same one who had shaken my hand and called me his friend. I felt like I was going to be sick. Isaac must have seen it on my face because he sighed, shaking his head. I'm sorry, man. I really am. But Lena, she hasn't exactly been subtle about it. I looked at him sharply. What does that mean? He hesitated again, then stood up and walked over to a drawer, pulling out a folder. When he set it down in front of me, my gut twisted. What is this? I asked. Isaac hesitated. Proof. I flipped. It opened, and the moment my eyes landed on the first picture, my blood ran ice cold. Lena, Graham, together, in my house. In our bed. Every breath in my body left me in one slow, agonizing exhale. My hands were shaking, but I couldn't stop looking. It was like a car crash. I couldn't look away no matter how much it hurt. Isaac's voice was softer now. I didn't want to believe it either, but you needed to know. My chest felt tight, my vision blurring at the edges. A dull roar filled my ears, drowning out everything else. Lena had destroyed me, and she hadn't even cared. But this wasn't just heartbreak. This was betrayal. And now, I had to decide what to do next. I sat in Isaac's kitchen, my hands clenched into fists, staring at the photographs laid out before me. My mind was racing, trying to process what I was seeing. It wasn't just one picture. It was a collection. Different places, different dates, now some in our house, some in restaurants, some in cars. Some taken late at night when I thought she was working late, others during weekends when she claimed she was out with friends. I had been played for a fool. She hadn't just betrayed me, she had mocked me. Every kiss, every touch, every excuse she fed me had been a lie, and I had swallowed it whole. My throat was dry, my stomach twisted in knots. Isaac shifted uncomfortably across from me, his face heavy with guilt. I didn't want to get involved, he admitted, but I couldn't just sit back and watch you keep living a lie. I swallowed hard, my voice came out hoarse. Who else knows? He hesitated. That hesitation was enough of an answer. I exhaled sharply, gripping the edge of the table so hard my knuckles turned white. Everyone, Isaac sighed. Not everyone, but enough people, some of the neighbors. I think even her friends know. She wasn't exactly trying to hide it. That sent a fresh wave of nausea through me. The thought of people looking at me, knowing, whispering behind my back. Laughing at the clueless husband who had no idea his wife was running around with someone else, it was unbearable. How long had I been the joke? How many times had I sat in the same room as Graham, sharing beers, talking about sports, while he knew he was sleeping with my wife? I wanted to punch something. No, I wanted to punch him. But what good would that do? It wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't erase what she had done. I pushed back from the table, standing abruptly. I needed to get out of there before I lost it completely. Isaac watched me carefully. Lowell, what are you going to do? I shook my head. I don't know, but I did know one thing. I wasn't going to let Lena walk all over me any longer. When I got back to the house, it was late. Lena's car still wasn't. In the driveway, that wasn't a surprise. I stepped inside, and suddenly the house felt different. Before, it had been my home. Now it just felt like a place, a shell of what it used to be. I moved mechanically, walking into our bedroom. My eyes landed on the half-packed suitcase I had found earlier, still sitting there as proof of what she had been planning. I took a deep breath and did something I never thought I'd do. I grabbed the suitcase and dumped it out. Clothes, shoes, makeup, all of it scattered across the floor. Then I went to the closet, grabbing handfuls of her clothes and throwing them into trash bags. I wasn't thinking. I just needed to purge her from this space, from my life, from my mind. Halfway through, my hand started shaking. I paused, my chest heaving. This wasn't just about her cheating. This was about everything. It's about how I had spent years loving someone who had probably stopped loving me a long time ago. About how I had been ignored, dismissed, discarded, like I didn't matter. I had mattered. I had given, and she had taken. And now she was leaving, running off to Mexico with the man who had smiled in my face and betrayed me behind my back. I clenched my jaw. Not on my watch. Not like this. It was past midnight when Lena finally walked through the front door. I was sitting on the couch, arms crossed, waiting. Lowell, she said cautiously, like she wasn't, expecting me to be here. Why are you still up? I gestured to the trash bags lined up by the door. You left some things behind. Her expression darkened instantly. What the hell is this? I stood, taking my time as I walked toward her.
Your stuff?
I said, my voice eerily calm. Since you're leaving anyway, I figured I'd help you pack. A flicker of something crossed her face, shock. Maybe, but it was quickly replaced with anger. You went through my things? She snapped. I let out a dry, humorless laugh. You mean the things you were already packing to leave me? Yeah, Lena, I did. She opened her mouth and closed it again. Good. Let her feel a fraction of what I was. Feeling, she crossed her arms, her jaw tightening. I don't know what kind of dramatic stunt you're trying to pull, but this is childish. Childish. That word nearly made me lose it. I took a step closer. What's childish, Lena? You sneaking around with Graham? Are you lying to my face? You making me look like an idiot in front of everyone we know? She flinched at that, but she recovered quickly. You don't get to play the victim here, Lowell, I scoffed. Oh, really? Then what do I get to be, Lenan? Because as far as I can tell, I've been nothing but a joke to you for months, maybe even longer. She looked away, her hands clenching at her sides. That was the first real sign of guilt I had seen from her all night. Silence stretched between us. Finally, she let out a long breath. Fine, yes, I cheated, but you know what? It wasn't like I had a choice. I blinked. Excuse me, she threw her hands up. You weren't present, Lowell. You shut down. Stopped trying, and I got tired of waiting for you to notice. Graham was there. You weren't. A bitter laugh escaped my lips. So this is my fault? You had no choice but to crawl? Into bed with someone else? She said nothing. I shook my head. That's pathetic, Lena. Her eyes flashed. You know what? Maybe it is. But at least I did something instead of just existing in a dead marriage. Dead marriage? There it was again. That same phrase. As if I had never even been in this marriage. As if I had just been taking up space. I let out a slow breath. I didn't even feel anger anymore. I just felt done. I nodded toward the door. Then go. Go be with him. Go to Mexico. Do whatever the hell you want, but don't come back, she scoffed. That's the plan. And with that, she grabbed the bags and walked out of our house, out of my life. I didn't watch her go. I didn't even feel the need to. Because for the first time in a long time, I knew something with absolute certainty. I was going to be okay. And Lena, she had just made the biggest mistake of her life. The moment Lenan walked out that door, the house felt different, not just empty lighter. Like the weight of her presence, her lies, her betrayals had been pressing down on me for so long that I hadn't even realized how much of myself I had lost. I stood there for a long time, staring at the door, waiting to feel something regret. Sadness, anger, but all I felt was relief. It didn't hit me all at once, but slowly, like a tide pulling back. The realization that I didn't have to live under her shadow anymore. I didn't have to question every text message, every late night, excuse every cold look across the dinner table. I was free. But freedom wasn't the same as peace, because now I had to figure out what the hell came next. I didn't sleep that night. But I tried. I really did. I lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, willing my mind to shut off, but it wouldn't stop racing. Images of those pictures Isaac had shown me, the ones of Lana and Graham together, flashed behind my eyelids every time I closed them. I got up before the sun rose, my body running on adrenaline and nothing else. I needed to do something, anything, so I did what I had avoided for years. I went through our finances. I'd always trusted Lana with the money. She handled the bills, the accounts, the budgeting. I never questioned it. We both worked, and I figured we were fine. But now, with the plane tickets, the rushed packing, and the way she had walked out so easily, I knew I had to check. It didn't take long to find the problem. I sat at the kitchen table, staring at the bank statements, my stomach dropping lower and lower with each passing second. Lana had been draining our accounts for months. Not all at once, just little by little. Small withdrawals here and there. Payments I never noticed because they weren't unusual. Restaurants, shopping, hotels. I clenched my jaw, my fingers curling into fists. She had been using our money to pay for her affair.
Oh.
And worse, the joint savings account we had been building for years, the one meant for a future was empty. I exhaled sharply, forcing myself to stay calm. Losing it wouldn't fix anything. But it did confirm one thing. Lana hadn't just been preparing to leave me. She had been preparing to take everything with her. Except now I knew, and she had no idea I did. I spent the next few hours making calls, first to the bank, to separate my accounts, lock everything down, and cut her off. Then to a lawyer. I had no idea what Lana expected when she walked out last night, but one thing was for sure, she wasn't going to walk away with my money. I wasn't going to fight for the house. I didn't want it anymore. It was just a reminder of everything she had tainted. But I would make sure she got nothing from me. I had been a fool for too long. That ended now. Later that day, I got a text. Lana, we need to talk. Stared at the screen for a long time, debating whether to respond. Then another one came in. Lana, I need some money for the trip. Can you transfer me some? A humorless laugh bubbled up in my throat. She really thought I was that stupid. I typed out my response carefully. Me. Check the bank account. A few minutes passed. Lanan. What the hell? Lowell? Lana, why is the account locked? Lana, you had no right to do that. I took my time before replying. Me, you had no right to cheat. You had no right to take my money. You had no right to treat me like I was nothing. Me, now you get exactly what you deserve. She didn't respond. For the first time in months, I had the upper hand, and damn, it felt good. That night I got another call. Not from Lana, from Graham. I let it ring twice before answering, my voice cold. What do you want? There was silence on the other end. Then finally he spoke. Look, man, I think we need to talk, I scoffed. I have nothing to say to you. I didn't know she was taking money from you. His voice was tight, frustrated. I just found out today. She told me she had her own savings. She said you weren't even going to notice. A bitter chuckle escaped my lips. And you believed her? Graham sighed. Lowell, listen, I'm not calling to fight. I think she's been playing both of us. That caught my attention. What are you talking about? She told me she was divorcing you months ago, he admitted. Said you were done? That you were just staying together for the finances? I had no idea she was still living with you, still pretending things were fine. I thought I was. He hesitated. I thought I was the one she wanted. I rubbed my temples, feeling a headache forming. And now you realize you were just another idiot she strung along? A long pause, then, "Yeah," he muttered. "I guess I do." I didn't say anything because for the first time since all of this started, I felt nothing. No anger, no jealousy, no hatred. Just pity. Pity for the man who had destroyed my marriage only to realize he had been just as disposable as I was. Maybe. For the first time, Graham was feeling exactly what I had felt when I found out, and it was poetic justice. But I wasn't about to comfort him. I let out a slow breath. "You made your choice, Graham. Now live with it." And then I hung up because I was done. I was done being used, done being lied to, done being the fool. Lana had made her bed. Now she could lie in it, without a damn penny for me. For the first time in years, I woke up feeling in control, no longer weighed down by uncertainty, no longer second-guessing myself. The money was locked, the divorce process had started, and Lana was out of my house. For so long, she had dictated the course of my life, manipulating, lying, taking. But now, she was the one scrambling, and I wasn't going to give her a damn thing that morning. I made myself a real breakfast, not the half-eaten granola bars I had been surviving on lately, not the coffee to go while rushing out the door, but real food. Eggs, toast, bacon. The smell filled the kitchen, making me realize how long it had been since I did something just for myself. Halfway through my meal, my phone vibrated on the table. Lana again. I sighed, debating whether to ignore it, but then curiosity got the better of me. I answered but said nothing, letting the silence stretch between us. Her voice came through, shaky but sharp. "You locked me out of the accounts." I chewed my bacon slowly. "Yep, I need money, Lowell," smiled to myself, leaning back in my chair. "Not my problem," she huffed, her frustration crackling through the phone. "This is ridiculous. You can't just cut me off like this." "I can," I said simply, and I did. "You're being petty." I let out a low laugh. "Petty, Lana? You stole from me. You were planning to disappear with another man using my money? Now you're upset because you actually have to deal with the consequences?" Silence. Right. Then, softer, "I didn't mean to hurt you." That almost made me laugh. Almost. I pushed my plate aside, standing up and walking to the window. The morning sun spilled over the lawn, making everything seem too normal for what my life had become. "Lana," I said, my voice calm, "you didn't just hurt me. You destroyed me, and you didn't care. Not when you lied to me, not when you cheated, not when you emptied our savings." "I know," I cut her off. "You don't get to rewrite this. You made your choice. Now you have to live with it." She let out a shuddering breath. "I can't go on the trip without the money." A cold satisfaction settled in my chest. "Not my problem," I repeated. Her breath hitched. "You're enjoying this, aren't you?" I thought about that for a second. Was I? Maybe. But it wasn't about revenge. It was about finally standing up for myself. So I said, "No, Lanan. I'm just finally done being a fool." Then I hung up, and it felt amazing. I didn't expect to hear from Graham again. But later that afternoon, my phone buzzed with another unknown number. I ignored it at first, but after the third time, I picked up. "Lowell?" It was him. I sighed. "What do you want now?" There was a long pause before he spoke, his voice different than before, less cocky, less sure. "Lena told me everything." Frowned. "Everything?" "She was never planning on staying with me," he admitted. "She was playing both of us. She was using my money and yours. And the second we got to Mexico, she was going to." He stopped himself. Like saying it out loud was too humiliating. "She was going to leave you there," I finished for him. Silence, then a bitter chuckle. "Yeah." I shook my head. "And you thought you were the special one?" "I did," he muttered, "but I was just another pawn. Should have felt pity for him. Maybe I did, somewhere deep down. But mostly I felt nothing. He had betrayed me." It smiled in my face, shaking. My hand sat at my dinner table while sleeping with my wife behind my back. Now he wanted sympathy? Too damn bad. "She played you," I said bluntly. "Welcome to my world." "Look, Lowell," he said, and I could hear the strain in his voice. "I know I don't deserve anything from you, but I thought you should know. She's spiraling. She's desperate. Irate. Desperate how? She's trying to book a last-minute ticket, he said, without me. That didn't surprise me. Let her, I said. It's not my problem anymore. Maybe not, Graham said, but you might want to keep your guard up. Because when people like Lennon lose control, they get dangerous. That night, I made a decision. Wasn't just going to survive this. I was going to move on. I took off my wedding ring and set it on the counter, staring at it for a long time. Then I picked it up and tossed it into the trash. Lena had thrown away our marriage long before I did. I was just making it official. I barely had time to process Graham's warning before Lennon showed up. It was late, probably past midnight, when I heard the sharp knock at my door. Not a polite knock, not hesitant, demanding. I knew it was her before I even checked. I considered ignoring it, letting her stand outside and stew in her own choices. But something in me wanted to see her face, to see how she was holding up now that she realized she had nothing left. So I opened the door. Lena stood there, arms crossed, her face twisted in something between anger and desperation. She looked different, not put together like usual. Her hair was messy, her makeup smudged like she'd been crying. I didn't say anything. I just leaned against the doorframe, waiting. She sighed heavily. Can I come in? I let out a short laugh. Why would I let you do that? Her jaw tightened. Because we need to talk.
Oh.
There's nothing left to say. She exhaled sharply, stepping forward like she was going to push past me. I blocked the doorway. Lowell, she said, her voice softer now, almost pleading. Just let me explain. Explain, I repeated. Lena, you already did, loud and clear. You cheated, you stole from me. You were planning to leave me without even saying goodbye. She flinched, but quickly recovered. I messed up, she admitted, but I never meant for it to be like this. I stared at her, waiting for more, some kind of real apology, some kind of realization that what she did was cruel, but it never came. Instead, she shook her head, frustration creeping back in. This isn't fair. I let out a humorless laugh. You really want to talk about fair, Lena? She threw her hands up. I get it, okay? You're mad. But what am I supposed to do now, Lowell? You took all the money. You locked me out of everything. I have nothing. And there it was. It's not regret, not remorse. She didn't care that she had shattered our marriage. She didn't care that she had humiliated me, that she had been lying to me for months, years. She only cared that she was losing. I crossed my arms. Sounds like a you problem. Her lips parted in shock. She was used to me being passive, used to me being the one who bent over backward to fix things. Not anymore. Her eyes hardened. You don't have to be like this, Lowell. Like what? I challenged. Like someone who finally stopped letting you walk all over them? She gritted her teeth. I was going to come back. I tilted my head, pretending to consider it. Oh, so you were going to leave me for Graham? Take my money? Have your little getaway? But then what? Come crawling back when you got bored. A silence. I smirked. You really thought you had options, didn't you? Her nostrils flared. You don't understand. No, Lena, you don't understand, I said, my voice low, controlled. I don't care anymore. You have nothing because you burned every bridge you had. I didn't do that, you did. She swallowed hard, her eyes darting away like she was searching for some kind of argument, some kind of excuse. Then she did something I didn't expect. She took a step closer and reached for my arm. Lowell, please, she whispered. We don't have to end like this. For a split second, I almost believed her. But then I remembered everything. The way she had dismissed me at that party. The plane tickets. The way she had lied so effortlessly. The way she had only come running back when she had nowhere else to go. It pulled my arm away. We already ended. Lena, you just didn't notice. Her face twisted with anger. You'll regret this. I shrugged. Maybe. Then I shut the door in her face. And this time I didn't look back. Lennon was gone. For real this time. I thought I'd feel something when I woke up the next morning, maybe guilt. Maybe second thoughts. But all I felt was peace. It was over. Really over. She hadn't texted, hadn't called. Graham had probably realized she wasn't worth saving, just like I had. It was a strange feeling knowing that the chapter of my life that had consumed so much of me was closed. But I wasn't sad. I was free. I spent that morning doing something I hadn't done in years. I took a deep breath, stepped outside, and just existed. No weight on my shoulders, no lies hanging over my head. For the first time in a long time, I wasn't wondering where she was or what she was doing or who she was